Hey, Dr. Over here. I just wanted to kind of reiterate when you're trying to do these mobile phone acquisitions, there are often issues. So we're going to walk through just a couple screenshots and then a little bit of the timeline of how long it took me to acquire a Samsung Galaxy Note 4. It's one of my old phones. So first I connected it to the machine and I received this, which is telling me that it's trying to flash the SD card. Means it's trying to either remove some password protection, or try to gain some additional root access that it didn't have. So I went through that. That eventually failed. And then the next screenshot, I started the acquisition over, and I was able to go to the device, and because I had the password, and this is where it gets more complicated since you haven't done this before. We often see these products advertised as they'll remove the password. Sometimes you have to be able to get to some of the settings to be able to get it to remove the passwords. So it's a loop that doesn't make sense, because if you have to log in to enable USB debugging, but you can't log in, then how are you going to do that? So some of the hardware devices might be better than some of these software tools that we're focusing on. I was able to enable USB debugging, and I was able to get this screen, which means that it was able to tell that there was a memory card in here and that there was an Android phone. And then it gave me the option of, do I want to do a full logical? That'll be everything that you would see on the phone if you were looking through the phone. A physical, which would include all of that plus deleted and some of the memory from the phone. And then a custom logical will be, I want to get just all the text messages. And so it'll be quicker, and I will be telling it where I want to get the information from. So again, it tried to do the same thing. It failed. It says that that type of device didn't support a physical plug-in, so I went ahead and went with a logical, and then I was able to get to this screen where the process started connecting to the device, so I could see the device and the computer were talking back and forth. And then it launched some services. I had to press OK on the phone to allow these services to run. And then it created a backup file. What should have happened, if you'll see in some of my other videos, is it should have created a backup file locally on the phone, and it should have asked, do I want to save the file, and do I want to encrypt it? So I should have hit yes, save the file, and no, do not encrypt it. In my instance, I had this image display on the screen that told me to press these buttons, but the buttons never showed up on the phone. Nonetheless, the acquisition continued to run, and you can see it's starting here with the file system Android backup, starting going through and parsing some of the pictures in the DCM camera folder. And then at the end of the acquisition, we see lots of successes and some partial acquisition supported. So you'll see that for installed applications and part of the file system. So something in there, Paraben E3 didn't fully support, but we still got some data. So this is, again, the reason that multiple tools may be very useful when you're doing these types of investigations. So let's jump over to E3 and look at our task to see what actually happened. So you can see the first two acquisitions. The first one took 40 seconds and failed. The second one that took a minute and 20 seconds and failed. And then the last one that was successful took 2 hours and 52 minutes. So again, this is not a quick process. This is a pretty decent sized phone with a pretty decent size amount of memory in it. I can't remember if the memory card is still in it right now or not. When I start diving into the actual acquisition, we'll see what's there. And then the last task is I went ahead and did the sorting. Remember, sorting is good for being able to go through and look to see, show me all my pictures, show me all the text files. So I went ahead and did the sorting. While I was trying to do the sorting, I couldn't really do anything else on my computer, and I had 16 gigs of RAM. So it is, resource intensive while it's running. Now that it's sorted, I can click over here, sorted files, and if I want to see graphics, I can just click on the graphics, and it'll load fairly quickly. And if I want to see thumbnails of all the different graphics, should be able to click this, and it should load. So you can see pictures of me and my family. Looks like we're in New York. That's some of those little caveats of what it will look like. And then after you sort the file again, you can go through and you can see much more more quickly. But I'm not going to delve into the actual investigation at this point. I just wanted to kind of give you an overview of what another investigation looks like with a pretty decent size phone. Thanks.